Hey you guys, welcome to today's reading. So today we're going to be tapping into the energy of Meghan and Harry, or just kind of seeing where they are. I already have some questions ready to go that I do want to ask today. So I'm going to be reading on current energy of them right now. What are they focused on right now, as well as their ties to the royal family? How is that relationship going? As well as the current energy of their marriage too. If Spirit will let me tap into that energy. If and when Prince William does become king, what is the future for them going to look like then as well? So this might be a long one. Sit back, relax, get comfortable. So without further ado, we're going to start with the oracle cards, and I'm going to start off with the current energy. Also, if you guys are hearing some background noise like rain, so please bear with me. I'm going to start with the current energy of Meghan and Harry. All right, so we have burned bridges, and then we have old exes, clingy, dead relationship, old ways. I got a visual of the royal family, but let's see what else. Antisocial, in your feelings, silent treatment left out. So we now have waves, worry, emotion, and fear. Just wondering about the current energy, and I was gonna do the royal family separately, but it feels like this energy is already coming up as far as how they feel about the royal family, and the energy must be very strong for it to come out straight out the gate like this. So this is something that maybe I just heard reconsidering options, like reconsider your options. Before we continue, anything I say in this reading is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Feels like they wish it wouldn't have turned out this way, so perhaps there are some decisions that were made or that they're not proud of. But since we're in the energy of their relationship with the royal family, I want to pull some cards on how they perceive the royal family. Like, why is it so strong in their energy? All right, so we have feminine energy that jumped out: gentleness, nurturing, mothering. Why is it so prominent? And then we have harmony, balance, and then I'll pull one more. Happiness, joy, laughter, healing. Immediately when I pulled the feminine energy card, I did get a visual of Princess Diana. I'll say that just from looking at the cards, it just feels like there's some reconciliation, some conversations that it feels like they want to have with the royal family about some of the things that were done in the past that they do want to balance and bring peace. And then we have the healing here as well. So it just feels like in their energy, they're wanting to probably make amends with the royal family going forward. And it also just feels like the mother, because we have this feminine energy card here, so the mother wants to support from the other side, from an ancestral perspective. I just heard brothers. Spiritual interference here where they're reconsidering their options. How can we make amends? Do some conversations need to happen? And if you recall from the reading that I did on the royal family, and I'll put it up in the corner so you can pull it up if you want to look at that. I remember there was a card of mentoring. It was a card of, I think it was called Mentor. But from the energy of that card, because I was tapping into the energy of Will becoming king or something along those lines and what would happen. And I remember that card coming up alluding to that someone would be in his corner helping him. I was getting the energy that that person that will help him when and if that time comes will be his brother, Prince Harry. It almost just feels like the brothers were pitted against one another, allegedly. Almost like when your parents get divorced, you're having to pick sides. Obviously not the exact same circumstances, but it just kind of feels like they had to pick and choose sides. And that's really why they have the divide here. But there's a call here for them to heal this relationship. I said if and when the time comes for the transition to king, that might be the time for them to heal their relationship, if they haven't already started the process. Because Will did say in the news reports that I did look up after I did the reading, he was open to having a conversation, but he really wanted it very under lock and key. Like none of the public would know about it. So who knows, they may already be having these conversations. But I just heard sorrow. We're on the outside looking in. Some people don't see it for them, and I get it. But usually, at least in my experience, when a family death or something like that happens, it can either separate a family or bring them closer. And I'm of the belief, just looking at these cards, that it would bring them closer. And I got that energy as well in the previous reading. So, hey. And look, healing came out. I'm also getting an image of the kids, like Meghan and Harry's kids and then Prince William's kids. So, perhaps it would be very good for them to heal this relationship, because it would be good for their children to have relationships with one another. And then at the bottom, we have time, delay, procrastination, too busy. So if they haven't already started reconciling, likely be when the transition of power will come. Feels like allegedly Meghan and Harry are open to it though. But let's see what the royal family feels about the two, if they'll be open to having a conversation to heal the relationship. So we have running, and that came out reversed. So at some point, they won't be able to run from Meghan and Harry. And that's why I said when the transition of power happens, the window of opportunity for this reconciling to happen because they won't have outside influences making them pick sides. And look, we have apology at the bottom, arrogant, rash actions, insincere. So yeah, there's definitely going to be some conversations to be had at the time of the transition, if not already, but there's a time for them to heal this relationship, and the energy is pointing to me that this needs to happen. And also, it feels like the mother on the other side is pushing for this to happen as well. I just heard a mother's love. All right, so we have drowning, over your head, overextended, rock bottom. So although Meghan and Harry, like I said, are remorseful, they're wanting to essentially heal this relationship or reconsider how they went about it, the royals could still be viewing them as a couple that, although you guys we went our separate ways, look at you now type of energy. I heard stunting, like stunting on them. Look at us and look at you. Because I'm not going to say that the transition from being royalty to being a civilian was easy for Meghan and Harry, but it's almost kind of like better than you because we're still in the royal family. Now, mind you, like I said, this is the current energy of how the royal family feels about the couple currently. So this encompasses the king, the current queen, as well as the prince and his wife. All right, how else? All right, and then we have puzzled, so perplexed, confused, conflicted. So I think even now the royal family doesn't really know what to do with them as far as relationships behind closed doors. I heard, do we still ostracize them? Do we keep ourselves still separate from them? I just heard the word like hands off. So they may, now still be really hands off with them, but they still think about them because they still have ties to the royal family either way it goes. Although they live in an entire different country, we're always still going to look at Prince Harry as Prince Harry. So going back to the energy of Meghan and Harry currently, I just want to pull some different cards for that energy and see what comes up. All right, so we have game over, completion, ending, promiscuity, lust, sidewalk game, and then we have the collective. This was the current energy of them now. I haven't gotten to like the state of their marriage, but allegedly it feels like they're having marital problems because even as I look at this card here that has promiscuity, lust, sidewalk game, I heard affair, marital problems that obviously they can't show to the public because they have to keep up this image, the collective, which would be the general public. Or you could also read it as the image that was curated because they are part of royalty or were a part of royalty. All right, so we have victim, grief, sadness. Those flipped over. And then we have projection at the bottom. I just heard like not seeing eye to eye. I just heard divorce is not on the table. Divorce is off the table. Something along those lines. But they can't get divorced right now. Allegedly infidelity of some sort on the prince's part. Allegedly. I'm not getting that from Meghan. But again, I'll pull from the tarot here soon. But I do want to know from this ending here, this game over, if they're going to be separated. I heard in my mind they're already living in separate homes. And then we have creativity, idea, imagination. I also heard in my mind business, so starting businesses, which I know Meghan has started some businesses and she has that show on Netflix where she's cooking and being a homemaker in the show. I was directed to the hair on this person on the card and their hair is red, so allegedly these cards show who is who. So one person is expressing creativity and working and doing business while the other person is grieving, sad, sorry for themselves for how things have turned out. All right, and then we have otherworldly, celestial, extraterrestrial, and then we have law and order, what is that? Law and order, authorities, court, legal. At the bottom, we got safe and secure, guarded. I don't know why I just got Prince Andrew in my mind. I know that the Epstein files were just updated or re-released to the public. I don't know. I just got a visual of Prince Andrew. I'm not really sure the ties between him and Prince Harry specifically. There are none that I know of, but I want to pull tarot on this specifically because I wonder if somebody's at risk of going to jail. Just because we have the law and order and then we have the guarded, and look at the back, somebody's locked up behind in a jail cell. So, and I'm not sure what that has to do with Meghan and Harry, but that's interesting. The otherworldly, I was getting the download that maybe this is something pertaining to the spiritual interference that I mentioned about the mother, allegedly Princess Diana energy. Otherworldly doesn't necessarily have to mean like aliens, but these are still celestial beings. They could be spirits. At least that's my interpretation of it. All right, so now let's get into the tarot. I'm going to leave this here out so that I can refer to that Law and Order card, since I do want to figure out what that's about and dive a little deeper. And then Six of Pentacles. This is Three of Pentacles. Let's clarify the Three of Pentacles. All right, so here's the Three of Sun. I mean, the Sun reversed. There's a lot of secretive energy in here, which, again, common theme for a lot of these readings. And I only say that because the Sun came out reversed. It was flipped over when I was trying to clarify the Three of Pentacles, because there is a project or a group collaboration of some sort where there were some underhanded tactics for said project or workings, or this could just be a collaboration. There were some underhanded tactics here, and there was a payment that had to be given, an equivalent exchange of payment. Again, in my mind, I just heard affair. Five of Pentacles. I just keep hearing the word affair, so I just wanted to like sit on it a little bit longer. But whoever this person is, allegedly, with the prince, is someone that he's worked closely with, or is maybe in the same industry as him, or influencer. Someone that's like in the public eye. So this could be like an actress, a model, just someone who works in that industry, right? So whoever it was, they were working very closely together, but there was some sneaking around, allegedly, and somebody had to get paid off, because I did hear hush money. And then once I got the Sun reversed, that's when I figured out that, okay, this is something that they do want to keep as a secret. We already have a moon here in the Seven of Swords. Allegedly feels like this person may have not even wanted the money. They're willing to sit on the sidelines, like they're sitting down in this picture of the cards with the pentacles that they do have. Because I also have Four of Cups at the bottom, which is like unrequited offer. You try to offer someone something, but they don't want to take it, or they're disappointed with what you're offering. And then the next cards, I have Two of Cups, a relationship, Three of Cups. So yeah, it just feels like there's a woman here, because even earlier there was a Queen of Pentacles at the bottom, and I did check to see if Meghan was an earth sign, but she's in fact a Leo, which made me think that, okay, this has to be a woman in here. And then that's when I heard affair. So, all right, let's see what else. All right, so we have the Hermit, and then we have Three of Wands. I'm gonna pull one more card, because we do have the Hermit, which is Virgo, and that would represent Harry. So I just want to clarify what Three of Wands is for. Temperance. Okay. When him and Meghan separated from the royal family the way that they did, he didn't think things were going to escalate to the degree that they did. Because I was hearing isolation, loneliness, where you're waiting on opportunities to come and happiness to come, or how you envision it to come, because we have the Three of Wands. And then Temperance, you're trying to get a new beginning through, balance. But for him, it was not what he expected at all. There's something also with money here too, like the money's not rolling in the way that they thought it would. I'm also getting the visual of his book that he wrote, so they may have thought that it was going to provide a lot of profits, but they were over optimistic about how much they were going to bring in from the book. And I just heard ostracized again, so ostracized from his family. I feel like he knew how far this was going to go with the separation from the family. And that's not to put blame on Meghan or anything like that. It's just love will make you do crazy things, and this wasn't what he hoped for. All right, let's see what else for the current energy. All right, and then we have Judgment, and then we have Death. Interesting cards to come out for their current energy. Allegedly, when the transition of power, when and if it happens, it's going to change the dynamic of their relationship in some sort of way. Whether that be him getting separated from her, divorce, or this them not being together anymore. I mean, they probably will stay together just for image purposes, but it doesn't feel like they're going to be in a happy marriage when and if that time comes, because he's going to be working on mending his relationship with his other family, So I want to know, what are they currently focused on? So, all right, so we have Eight of Swords, which is like feeling trapped. All right, and then we have Six of Cups, and another card came out, and then we have Two of Pentacles. Okay, again, still thinking about ties to the royal family, feeling trapped in their circumstances because of things that happened in the past, juggle their current priorities, their money, their lifestyle, and how they're going to move forward. But again, still trapped because of things that happened in the past. And I think that's also why, again, when the oracles at the beginning of the reading, I mentioned that they have the healing, the harmony, those cards that came out for them early on. So that is something that it sounds like they're trying to figure out how to navigate fixing the problem, right? How can we move forward? So for both of them, yeah, I think they do want to figure out how to mend the relationship, how they're going to balance that, because they themselves are trying to balance out their current lives. And money, pentacles keep coming up, so there's some money here that's obviously heavy in the energy too, because we also have 10 of pentacles at the bottom, so that could be family, but it also could be generational wealth. So, and I just heard high and dry, so funds may have dried up for them once they went their separate ways, allegedly. So not only are they trying to heal, but they're also trying to figure out how to get in the royal family business for entertainment purposes only. But I also want to look at what's challenging them, which I feel like we've kind of gotten a gist of that already, but let's see what the cards have to say. So here, what's challenging Meghan here right now? What's challenging? Six of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, Knight of Swords. So what's currently challenging them, because as I was shuffling, I was just getting the download of them leaving, right? They left the royal family, but it's almost like they have to grovel in front of them. Like they need to apologize to them publicly. Maybe that's what the royal family is wanting, or they may have even asked them in private, we need you to do a public apology. But it just feels like they're challenged, because what they need to do to get in the royal family's good graces again is that they're going to have to apologize. Whatever that looks like, I don't think they want to do it. But because they left the way that they did, and how messages were sent out, the messaging that they put in the press, it just hurt bad taste in their mouth. So yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot of apologizing if they do want to get back in the royal's good graces, at least currently, right? Because like I said, there's still that energy of if and when the transition happens, the brothers will be able to reach a better place. But in the meantime, they do want to get back into good graces, but it's not going to come easy. And I just heard it's also not going to be cheap. I don't know what that means. So yeah, they're going to have to really pay the price if they do end up going back, and if things were to go back to how they once were. They're definitely going to have to do a lot of apologizing, as well as some other things that they may be asked to do. And then we have 10 of Pentacles again, the family. Yeah. Hopes and fears for them are definitely tied to their stability, money stability, as well as some secrets around said stability, and even the stability around their family home. And then I also just heard that's why they live separately, allegedly. There's some huge secrets around. I heard bank accounts, harmony in the home. Everything is not what it seems for them. They came out temporarily victorious, 6 of Wands, when they left the royal family. I don't even think I really need to pull a card on the status of their marriage. Maybe I will. I know this reading is probably already long enough. Yeah, let's actually do a card on the marriage. What is the state of their marriage here? Let's look into that. What is the state of their marriage? Nine of Cups. We have 9 of Wands, Page of Wands reversed, King of Cups, and then we have 5 of Wands. And as I first pulled 9 of Cups, I did hear you get what you asked for. And then we have 10 of Swords at the bottom. Oh, allegedly, they fight a lot. Allegedly. Harry must be someone that has either a lot of water in his charts, or he's very intuitive, very sensitive. I did hear sensitive. Tied with a Leo with a lot of fire energy, so they probably clash a lot. And it's probably why it leads to him being very sad, feeling very lonely, isolated. Because for her, she had the creativity, the ideas, the inspiration card come up in the oracles, where his was a totally different card. You get what you wish for, or you get what you ask for. However that sentence went however I said it a minute ago. So yeah, allegedly, they do fight a lot. And there is some betrayal there too, because I mentioned an affair, allegedly. And then we have Page of Wands reversed. I would even say for them, because I heard the word stagnant. It feels like their marriage might be at a stalemate right now, and there's a lot of fighting. But just heard they don't know each other anymore. Interesting that they're going through all these marital issues, but they're wanting to get allegedly cool with the royal family. Like they're bringing their drama and things that they have going on to a whole different situation that's going to be even more stressful, which is interesting. But I just got the visual of the pentacle, so because of money. So I guess that's more important, allegedly. I keep saying allegedly because I don't want to get flagged, because it is dealing with the royal family, you guys. So please bear with me. I just don't want to get flagged. They're pretty much at a stalemate. It's pretty stagnant. He's in his feelings all the time, at least related to the marriage. And then 5 of Wands, fighting, conflict, chaos. All right, so now that we got that out the way, I think we pretty much know what's going on with them. I do want to see what's going on with this legal card and what that meant, so Spirit can clarify. Let me clarify this legal card. All right, 3 of Cups. And then we have Queen of Wands. Huh. And then we have 9 of Swords, so somebody's worried. I'm also hearing Ghislaine, is that her name? Maxwell, the one that was linked to Epstein, like the, I don't know what to call her, a madam, I guess. I feel like she's tied into this somewhere. Somebody's worried about this situation, though, this legal matter. And it might have something to do with Prince Andrew, and that's why it's coming up in the energy. We got 3 of Cups, so that's a group setting. And I was also hearing parties. Let me pull one more card on that. All right, 2 of Wands. There's a Queen of Pentacles here. So I just asked, who is worried about the legal system? Because it feels like there's some undercurrent energy. We have 2 Queen cards, so that's 2 women, clearly. 2 of Wands that came out as a clarifier. But there are multiple people involved in this that are worried. I just keep hearing Epstein files. So I don't know. And y'all let me know if, outside of Prince Andrew, if other royals have been involved with anything to do with the Epstein parties and the allegations and the Epstein Island. Y'all let me know. I'm not too familiar about the royals' involvement in that, but I suspect that they may have some linkage to it just because it keeps coming up in the energy. And we have multiple women here. Parties. People are stressed and worried about secrets, allegedly. I think for me, I'm just curious to know how this ties into the Meghan and Harry portion of this reading. Because I don't believe Harry was in the files. I don't think. But I haven't read all of them either. Or maybe some things to come in the future. But either way, the royal family allegedly does have some ties to the allegations in the files. Or may not even be in the files, just some allegations in general. So, okay, I'm going to move on from that. I just kind of wanted to see what the legal stuff was about. If it was like more of like divorce or something, you know, a little scandalous. But it's a little darker. It got dark really quickly. And then one last question I did want to ask is, what is the real reason that Harry and Will are not close anymore? I did want to ask that. Oh, and then Queen of Swords was also there too. So, yeah, lots of Queen energy before I move on. Just want to pull that last card out. Okay. All right, so we have Page of Swords. The High Priestess. It feels like the real reason why they're not as close as they were anymore is because there was some... I feel like it has something to do with the marriage of Meghan and Harry for sure. That's what I'm getting. There may allegedly even be secrets around how they felt about Meghan at the time. And that's the real reason why they're not close anymore. Now, whether or not he's expressed how he really feels is up to question. But it doesn't feel like he fully expressed how he felt about Meghan. But I don't really think they care for her too much. I knew some secrets about her. All right, let me pull another card. All right, the Magician. And then I also have suspicion, because I have the High Priestess and the Magician, that there was some alleged spiritual work being done on allegedly Meghan's side. Because I was suspecting that with the High Priestess, but now that I pulled the Magician, I also get that there may even have been some work. I heard domination. If you guys are familiar with what that looks like, then this would make sense in this situation. And that... allegedly, it also I heard backfiring, so maybe now it's backfiring, and that's why one person in the cards earlier was happy, creating, having ideas, and the other person was lonely, isolated, felt sorrow. That's how spells backfire, and it can make the situation worse, especially with something like domination type of work. Ooh, yeah, that's what I suspect. There was some work done, spiritually. They all do it, you guys. Like this should not be a surprise at all. They all do it too. Some do different things more than others, but they all do it, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. All right, so let's see. Will their relationship ever get better? Will the relationship ever get better? Strength. 8 of Cups. Strength, 8 of Cups, Page of Cups. Yeah, they're gonna have to do some apologizing again. They're definitely gonna have to do some apologizing. Just because it's the 8 of Cups, Page of Cups. And then the Strength card to me is a confirmation that yes, the relationship will get better, but there's gonna have to be some apologizing happening here. Also, I allegedly feel like they're gonna have to leave his wife behind. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that means, but he's gonna have to walk away from the situation, her less toxic situation, and apologize. Like, he's gonna have the strength to do it. But when I say he, I mean Harry apologized to Will, and maybe even both of them need to apologize. But I don't think that they'll be able to fully heal and reestablish the sibling relationship until he leaves said wife alone, allegedly. 4 of Swords at the bottom, laying the situation to rest, or laying the marriage to rest. So I don't know why she's tied up in that, but that's just what the energy is giving me. So I think I covered all of my questions in the reading. Let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy this reading? Was it too long? Was it too short? I try to do it a little bit longer and plan out my questions so I'll be prepared. I do also want to know what you guys think about the Law and Order portion of this reading, who you suspect that is. If you guys have like any tea or reports about the Epstein files and how that links to the royal family, I want to know that. I may even do some research today following this reading just so that I'm kind of caught up in what's going on. And if there's more to it that I can find, I'll insert more audio at the end and let you guys know what my findings are. But if not, that means that I really didn't find much on the internet, at least. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a beautiful day.